right. Good morning, everyone. Appreciate everyone joining. We're going to get started today. We are very excited for you all to be able to join us. We have a very exciting webinar for y'all today. The webinar is AI-driven data activation with BigQuery and Vertex AI. I'm very excited for the speaker who is joining us today to be able to lay down some knowledge for us who are interested in learning more about AI and data activation paired together. Obviously, AI has been something that has been big over the last couple of years. It feels like everywhere around the business sector, we're just getting hit with more and more AI. And so if you're attending because your directors or marketing folks are asking how they can leverage AI more adequately, you're in the right place. So we're excited for you to join. Just to kind of kick us off, we have a poll that we want to kind of roll out to y'all just to kind of get a sense of where y'all stand. So what does your organization currently leverage BigQuery for today? Obviously, BigQuery can be used for a wide variety of things. For those of y'all who are maybe joining for the first time, this is actually a four-part series that we've done. This is the last of the four-part series that we've had. And we've talked a lot about cost optimization, how to get data into BigQuery, reporting out of BigQuery, and obviously today, marketing activation out of BigQuery. So currently today, what are you leveraging BigQuery for? There's obviously some other additional ones. Maybe you're just piping data out of BigQuery and so on and so forth. So feel free to select the ones that your organization currently leverages for today as it will kind of just give us a general feel for the room here today. Keep that open for just another moment. But as I kind of mentioned earlier, specifically around BigQuery, this is one of the fourth part of a series here. If you're interested in having more BigQuery webinars or discussions, and you think of something that has been maybe a problem for your organization, go ahead and drop that in the chat function. Obviously, we want to make sure that we're continuing to provide value to y'all. But if there's something that you're like, hey, I didn't see this covered in the series, drop that in. Maybe we'll make something out of it in the future. But as of right now, this is going to be kind of our last one. So last hurrah, definitely a great hurrah. So with that, we'll go ahead and jump into our key takeaways that we're hoping that you get out of today. So obviously, future-proof marketing and coming away with a strategy for future-proofing your marketing strategy is something that is a goal. So how can you activate data? How can you future-proof with first-party data and ensure that you're stepping forward with a privacy-first analytics capability. Last is a holistic customer insight. So rather than just making decisions based on specific platforms, maybe it's your CRM, GA, or specific ads platforms, we want to make sure you're bringing that together and actually building your audiences with as much data as possible. So then you can actually activate those audiences in multiple areas. So actually getting a better insight into your audiences that are hitting the site. AI-driven optimization, so modeling and being able to segment various audiences and conversions to ensure that you're maximizing your ad efficiency. Machine learning, how to actually utilize machine learning, how to access machine learning, how to make that something or bake that into your BigQuery. That's something that's obviously important. And then obviously, lastly, automated and real-time activation. So we don't just want to make you or we don't just want to explain how you can use all these models to model data and how to build those models, but also how do you actually activate on the data that you're pulling from those models. That's something that is vital. But what gives us a reason to be able to talk about these things? Well, a little bit about InfoTrust. InfoTrust is a privacy-centric digital analytics agency and media enablement company. So we offer a wide variety of privacy-centric solutions to our organizations who want to measure business outcomes for various brands and agencies. We have many capabilities that we support, but we also have deep knowledge on specific industries that we support. So we have both abilities to support those, but also industry knowledge behind each of our industries. So we have teams that are dedicated to specific industries. So if you might be in one of those industries and you're like, I don't know what steps I need to take, go ahead and reach out to us. We're more than happy to pull together some strategies for you where you might be missing the mark, or provide you some information about where we see industry leaders actually navigating towards. So that's a little bit about InfoTrust. With that, I would like to introduce to you today who you will see on today's webinar. So obviously you see me, I'm the host. I love hosting these webinars, but that's not the point. No one joins for a host. Obviously, they join to get content. So I'm very excited to welcome Shaznika Damel, who is going to be leading us through our today's webinar. And I'm so excited for you all to be able to meet Shaznika, because you will leave changed, let's just say. And with that, I'm going to stop talking because we should be giving Shaz all the time to talk. So Shaz, I'll let you more fully introduce yourself.
Thank you, Jared. Hi, everyone. That was a great introduction. I don't know what more I could say about myself except the fact that I have had 7 years of experience, over 7 years, actually, close to 8 now, years of experience in working within the digital analytics realm, and especially within the Google Analytics and Google Marketing and Google Cloud ecosystem. So I'm really excited to share with you some of the insights that I've gained along the way while I'm explaining to you the process of utilizing AI-driven marketing activation processes and tools that you can utilize when you're thinking about how to fast track your marketing campaigns, and also how to think about having a unified marketing data warehouse that can help you build that foundation to activate on your data for better campaign results as well as closed loop measurement. Now, before I start off with this, I do want to mention that I woke up today with a cold and a cough. Not ideal for a webinar. I'm saying that because I will do my best to be as clear as possible as I'm going through some of these key points. All I ask is you to just bear with me when I may be taking the video off or the mic off every now and then, just to get a few seconds break, but that would be it. All right, let's get started. And I really want to start with the foundation of AI-driven marketing, because to truly unlock the power of AI in marketing, you really have to start with what truly makes it work, and that is the data. And it begins with a solid data foundation, one that's clean, consented, structured, and connects all the data from your organization. And this is whether it is site analytics from Google Analytics 4, your CRM records, loyalty data, data from your ad engagement. The quality of that data and the unification of all that data really helps determine the accuracy of the models that you want to build upon this data with, whether it's segmentation or any other types of modeling that you want to do for your marketing campaigns. So we're starting here because without the right foundations, AI won't scale and your insights won't activate. In this slide, what I want to highlight here is that it's really important to think through the foundational piece, right? Because AI in marketing isn't just, as I mentioned, about just collecting data, but it's also about how you organize it. So you want to make sure that you have your tag governance in place, your parameter standardization in place, consent management, to ensure there's accuracy of data as well as compliance. And then from there, you want to make sure that the data is processed, enriched, and integrated with all types of your first-party data. And then all of that data is then you can think about capturing all of that data and storing it within a structured marketing data warehouse. And the importance really in having a marketing data warehouse is so that you can unlock advanced analytics and predictive marketing strategies that can be more scalable, measurable, and actionable. And where you want to get to is to be able to have all of the data signals in one place so that you can also get a holistic view of your customer journey. And more importantly, it also enables you to build richer features for your AI models, features that capture your customer behavior, whether it's offline or online, capture certain types of context and value that's captured across all the different channels that they interact within. And this is where we see BigQuery really comes into play because it's a great option for like a centralized hub for all your marketing uh, data needs, as well as to capture all your marketing analytics so that everything's converged in one place. And because it's built for scale, privacy, and performance, there's already elements there that you really don't have to worry about. You just need to think through exactly how you want to structure and store that data. And the key idea here is when you have everything centralized in a marketing data warehouse, such as BigQuery, there are three core capabilities that you can unlock within this environment itself. And with BigQuery, you can unlock predictive modeling and audience activation. For example, using BigQuery ML or BQML, as well as using Vertex AI. The second one is it helps you drive business intelligence dashboards. For example, connecting your BigQuery to Looker, you can get real-time visibility, and that can help you with strategic decision making. And the third thing is it allows for or enables for closed loop measurement because you are able to collect your data in such a way that you're able to tie your media spend to actual business outcomes like purchases, revenue, and customer lifetime value. And this slide brings everything we've covered so far into what I want to show as a single unified system. So all of your first-party data is stored and managed in BigQuery, which enables analytics as well as your data science teams to build models for things like propensity to purchase, churn prediction, for your bidding strategies, lifetime value, etc. And then you take all of the insights that you get and activate it, insights as well as audiences that you get and activate it across different channels or your marketing channels. So then you're taking your predictions by building audiences and then turning them into performance through smarter, whether it's segmentation, targeting, or optimization methods. And the key goal here is to help drive your marketing goals, whether it's higher conversions, reduce customer acquisition costs, or more efficient marketing spend. All of that can be done through a scalable AI-ready marketing data warehouse, such as BigQuery. And what I want to highlight here is that with the right architecture in place, performance can be driven intelligently across your marketing channels. So you can start here, for example, on the left with more structured data. Let's say it's from your GA4 data, CRM data, etc. And then also think about, the future in the other types of data that you would want to collect, such as the non-traditional and unstructured data sources, such as video and app behavior. All of that data can be centralized and brought together within the Google Cloud platform. And then it allows you to blend structured, semi-structured data and makes it possible for you to start small initially but then evolve towards a multimodal model where you can include text, clicks to videos, video engagement, etc. Also, that you can start building much more smarter and more customized models. And this unified layer you see over here is to make sure that it highlights the importance of, whether you want to start small, you can use BigQuery ML. And if you wanted to scale this and do much more complex models, then you can utilize Vertex AI, where you can build your own pipelines. And on the right here, what I want to highlight is that you can bring all of the insights that you get, all of the insights that you get from the models, the audiences that you also build from the models, all within your Looker dashboard. So you can understand how they're performing over time, as well as be able to push them, whether it's to your Google marketing platform or other marketing platforms. And essentially, this is just to highlight also that this is within Google Cloud Platform, you can have a full stack approach. And really, at the end of or the main thing you can start off with is thinking about how to structure your marketing data warehouse, and then how to make sure that you can evolve from there and start thinking about all the different things that you can start building upon to eventually get to a place where you can have it more streamlined and have real-time insights and modeling and audience activation built in. And once your data is unified and modeled, the real power of AI does begin to emerge. And one thing I do want everyone to keep in mind is when you're thinking about AI-driven insights to improve marketing and to help with business intelligence, these are four key pillars to keep in mind. So you have your predict, which is the ability to understand your user behavior with much greater clarity. So you're able to understand what they're likely to do in the future. And you can think about AI-driven insights in terms of optimization efforts. For example, predictive models can help refine your media strategy by either identifying the right customers to target or the right bidding strategies as well. You can also think about this in terms of automation. So instead of manually building something, you are able to put together pipelines that can seamlessly ingest the data. So do the entire ETL process and then run through modeling and then create the information that you need to be able to activate upon, whether it's audience segmentation, bidding strategies, customer lifetime value understanding, etc. And then the last thing is enhancements. With automated insights and automated modeling, you are able to run more experiments at a faster rate. So they are able to understand what works, what doesn't, and then build upon that. And essentially, what this helps you is to think through about having a continuous learning loop, right? Where your models don't have to just describe and tell you what's going to happen, but also helps you really continue to reiterate upon what you already have and what you can think about having in terms of enriching your data. So BigQuery ML is what I would consider as the first step you can take if you haven't already. The first step you can take towards an AI-driven marketing activation process. BigQuery is usually, it's a lot simpler to start off with because one, it lowers the barrier to entry. You could be a marketer, you can be an analyst, as long as you know SQL code, you are able to quickly build upon models that are pre-existing within BigQuery. It also offers fast time to value. So you can quickly go from taking your raw data, whether it's GA4 or other first-party data and quickly go to predictive insights. It also helps with integration when it comes to like native integration with GA4, Google Ads, CRM platforms as well. There are lots of API connectors, lots of features within BigQuery itself that enables you to ingest the data quickly, which means that you can start building your audiences and optimizing your campaigns quickly as well. And the last thing is it creates a natural bridge to a more advanced modeling in the future. So think about it as your use cases mature, your BigQuery models can be scaled and automated and productionized within Vertex AI without the need for you to start building a model from scratch. And the last thing I want to say here is that BigQuery ML really helps with providing you with a low lift and high impact way to start putting your first party data to work. We here at InfoTrust have used this many times. It's really a great way to at least start the modeling process so you can start understanding. Oftentimes, it helps you understand whether you have the right data foundations in place so that you can start, even though you're starting with simpler models, you can also start working on the other part, which is like, let's make sure we continue to enrich our first party data within our marketing data warehouse so that it can continuously feed these models and provide much more richer insights. And here are just a few of the common cases that BigQuery ML supports. So this is just a snapshot to show you like all the different areas that it can support you with. And on the right-hand side, these are the existing models within BigQuery ML that helps you with supporting some of the use cases. So for example, it supports with predicting revenue, classifying users into high value, loyal, at-risk segments, generating product or content recommendations by personalizing it to user behavior, performing customer segmentations using clustering techniques, etc. All these options are possible. And I just named a few, but all these options are possible. And the right-hand side, these are different models that are available within BigQuery ML for you to get started.
With that, that's obviously an intro. We have our next webinar. As I give Shaz just a little bit of a break here. What is the next poll here? Is what BigQuery modeling capabilities is your organization most interested in leveraging? So obviously there's a bunch of different models that are available based on that last slide that was shown, where you can do a bunch of different predictions. You can do clustering. You can better understand users that are more likely to convert versus not likely to convert with propensity. You can think of customer lifetime value bidding towards the users that are more likely to give you the most lifetime value. You can even do market or media mix modeling, understanding how various mixes of media might help that user convert. Then obviously value-based bidding. To better understand the value of that user based on what kind of bidding you want to do towards that user. So lots of different capabilities here. Obviously, right now it looks like there's a good mix of folks who are interested in a wide variety of things, which is expected. We tend to see organizations want to hit at least one, two, maybe three of these models. But ultimately getting to as many as possible is a big benefit. But with that, I will go ahead and jump back off and send it over to you, Shaz.
Thank you. Okay, so I want to shift gears right now and then walk through what it actually looks like to build a model at a high level. So I'm actually really happy that there's a lot of you that are interested in propensity modeling because this is the use case that I did want to highlight. So this is awesome. In this example that I'm showing, let's say we have an e-commerce company and they want to classify users by their likelihood to purchase online in the next 7 days. And the goal here is to prioritize outreach for the highest potential users and avoid wasted spend on low intent users. So, and let's say you want to, as a business, be able to classify those users in these three buckets over here. This is all possible. Now, I do want to first highlight that the most basic approach sometimes to take would be just running a SQL code that identifies users who have added products to their cart but didn't complete a purchase. Now, this is still a viable option because it gives you a quick win of a pool of users who are ready, show intent to purchase, and it's a good place to start off with. However, this is only using a few data points, and it's only targeting customers who are already at the bottom of the purchase funnel. So you want to then start thinking about, is there a way to find customers earlier in the purchase funnel who are showing or who have a higher intent to purchase? And the best way to do this is by running a propensity model. And the best way to run a propensity model is to use BQML. So with BigQuery ML, you can start considering to build the propensity model that can score each users on their likelihood to purchase and then segment them into those three tiers. And the first step to take here is to make sure you're able to gather and join and aggregate all your data, whether it's from GA4 alone or it's a GA4 plus some of your other first-party data. This is to make sure that it includes features to create a data set that is enabled to create a model that has enough signals to understand the user's behavior. Then the next step here would be to start thinking about the models that you want to create. And the models you want to create can include different algorithms. So I've outlined three over here, such as logistic regression, which is great because it helps provide you with a reading that makes it a little simpler and easier to understand the model. Then there's boosted trees, which is often used for accuracy and its understanding of nonlinear patterns. And then there's random forest, which is often used for dealing with complex patterns. So the recommendation here is to think through like at least 2 or 3 models that you want to run for a propensity model. And the idea here is that you're able to train your data with multiple models so that you can compare the performance of each of the models that can then help you determine which is the best model or algorithm for your marketing use case. And on the right here, I want to highlight how relatively easy it is to run a model because this is all just using SQL code. And for example, over here, you can create a statement that says create a model, and then you can put in your model name. You can add in the type of model you want to run, and there are all these parameters that you can use to fine tune the model as well. And then make sure that this model runs on your training data set, which is the data set that you created to make sure that your model understands all the customer signals. And then you can use that customer signals then to start thinking or to start building your predictive model. Which gets me to the next point, which is evaluating the model. So once you've, let's say, run 2 or 3 models to be able to identify which is the best propensity model for your organization, BigQuery ML enables you to use an evaluate feature, which gives you some really key performance metrics or evaluation metrics, such as precision, recall, area under the curve, etc. And all of these metrics can help you understand which is the best model that you want to use for your propensity model. And I've added an example here that just gives an example of, let's say, for your marketing campaign, precision is what really matters. And you want to strictly identify users that are high value. In this case, you would look at evaluation metrics such as precision score to do the comparison, see which one is high performing. Conversely, if you are just running a re-engagement campaign and you just want to catch as many potentially interested users as possible, then you can use the recall evaluation metric to do the comparison. So lots of options, and I don't want to go too in depth into data science here, but what I do want to say is that it is still possible with BigQuery ML because you are still given those metrics and certain tools to be able to understand the performance of your models. Once you evaluate the model performance and you've decided, okay, you are going to go with the propensity model that use, for example, your random forest model. Then you go ahead and utilize this code that's ml.predict. And what that pretty much does is that it creates two key outputs. It provides you with a predicted label that tells you the outcome the model expects. For example, whether a user is likely to convert or not. And then the predictive probability, which indicates how confident the model is that this person is going to convert. And this is an example of what the output looks like. This table shows that, well, each row within this table represents a user prediction. So the predicted label here, 1 says, yes, this user is going to convert. And the predictive probability here gives us an indication of their likelihood. So there's this, let's say a 66% chance that this person is likely to convert. And this conversion probability, what this does really help you is to build upon your probability score so you can segment users into that high, medium, or low propensity groups that you were looking for, or that we had highlighted as the expected outcome of this example. And the end goal here then is to be able to utilize these scores to understand how you want to personalize your messaging to be able to target these users. That's what we have on the right-hand side as an example. And also, you can start thinking about once you have these audience scores in place and you have segmented it within BigQuery itself, you are able to then start being able to actually push these audience segments into, let's say, Google Analytics or within your Google marketing platform. And the goal here, once again, is by having a segment breakdown this way, you're able to reach your marketing goals, which is higher, whether it's higher return on ad spend or just your ongoing optimization, because with BigQuery ML and because it's housed within BigQuery itself, you can ensure that these models are run on a frequent basis based on a specific schedule and ensure that the data that's fed in is also scheduled too, so that you are able to have a refreshed audience list on a constant basis. And then step 7 is where we always encourage is to make sure that there's an experimentation mindset, right? Because once you have the scores, you want to make sure that the audiences, in this case, is built out by these propensity models and are targeted in 3 different ways, that the way you've tailored your campaigns to each of those segments, they're actually working, they're actually performing as expected, or you're at least able to understand the performance. And the best way to do that is to run A/B test experiments, run holdout tests, and measure the incremental impact of those audiences and see what else you would, well, either see what else you need to do in order to make a change, or at least it'll give you an informed decision on how you want to further segment those users. Now that I've talked a lot about BigQuery and BigQuery ML, I do want to highlight Vertex AI because you can really scale your modeling through Vertex AI. And Vertex AI also helps you build much more customized models. So on one hand, you can take your BigQuery ML model and house it within Vertex AI and start building pipelines to automate the process. And on the other hand, you can just continue to use only Vertex AI to build a much more customized model. And much more customized model, but also pipelines that are tailored to your business needs. So this includes making sure that you are creating pipelines to be able to ingest data from different types of data sources, and also making sure that you're creating pipelines to ensure that it is being able to send the data, the insights, or the audiences to the required platforms. And one really great thing about Vertex AI is, it houses Jupyter notebooks. For a data scientist, this is great because you are able to use Python to build more customized models. But the other cool feature about this is that you can still use BigQuery SQL to be able to just either copy paste the model that you've already built in BigQuery using BQML, or just to be able to sometimes just use SQL code to be able to build the data set for your GA data, for example. And another cool feature about this is, apart from what I mentioned here, is the ability to also create pipelines in a way that you are able to, as you are building these pipelines and the models, you're able to create certain outputs that help you go back to the entire pipeline process and see like if things are working accordingly, or let's say your model output isn't as expected over time, you're able to go back and see certain metrics and outputs. And what I mean by that is, let's say, and I'm gonna just take us off on a little bit of a tangent here. Here's an example of just building a simple model within Vertex AI. And what you can see is that when you build this within Vertex AI, there's certain key outputs where you can start seeing like the outputs of your trained test data, for example, or any other charts that you want to make sure that you're constantly evaluating your model's performance. And an example of that is, let's say you want to build a correlation matrix. That's possible too, because at a certain period of time, you wanted to understand whether the events, let's say the events from GA4 that you're pushing into this model are still highly correlated to, your key variable, which is, let's say, a customer's likelihood to purchase. So it's just an example of some of the cool features and functionalities that Vertex AI can provide, and something to keep in mind when you are thinking about using Vertex AI to make your models more scalable, but also to be able to utilize it for the ability to refine it and look at every single piece of code that and output of each of the code that you're building. And this is just an example of how everything comes together. So on your left, you have your marketing data, for example, coming into your platforms like Google Ads, Facebook, And then all of this information flows into your marketing data warehouse within BigQuery or even within your cloud storage. And in the center of it all is where the modeling magic would happen. This is where you can either use BigQuery ML or Vertex AI to build your models, define your endpoints, and run training pipelines. And on the right, you can realize this, you can actually build this further by using Colab as like your user interface to run all the models and then be able to output the insights of the audiences built in from those models back into your marketing platforms. And then finally be able to visualize all of that within a dashboard. Uh, another cool feature about using whether it's BigQuery ML or Vertex AI is that you can make sure that the outputs, right, from those models, whether they're audiences in different segments or they are customer lifetime value details, all of that information can be stored neatly within BigQuery, within a data set and tables, so that you have this information available for different people within your organization. You can do this, you can use it whether it's for marketing activation as well as if it's for just further analysis of your customers within those different segments. All that is possible within BigQuery. And once you have those tables in place, you can point that directly to a Looker dashboard. And it can be as simple as that. And by pointing that, you're able to visualize it in graphs, create metric scorecards, as well as build it in tables so that it can be easily shared across the organization. So here are the final recommendations from this session. And this is just a recap of everything that I've talked about in three simple ways, which is when you're thinking about AI-driven marketing, think about the data foundations. It's really important to have structured data and unified data within BigQuery that can help support the types of modeling and activation needs that you have. And then when you think about modeling and analysis, I always say, if you're new to this, start with BigQuery ML. It really gives you insights into how a simple model can have the type of impact a simple model can have by building it in BigQuery ML. And once you're able to see the performance output of the audiences, let's say, generated from a simple model such as BigQuery ML, then you start getting the data points on what else you need to start building upon it and then make it more scalable within Vertex AI. And then the last thing here is strategic action. Ensure every prediction ties back to an actual marketing outcome. So at the end of the day, the goal here with a lot of the modeling use cases is to ensure that whatever you do, you are able to optimize your marketing campaigns with that information. And to think through that, it's always important to understand what your expected outcome is. And that will help you identify through that chart that I showed earlier, which BigQuery ML model you want to utilize. Now, I do want to highlight a really cool feature or a really cool offer that we have today. So for a limited time only, we are inviting all of everyone who's joined us today with the opportunity to test our new SaaS propensity modeling solution. So this solution is specifically really built for marketers. It's fully powered by GCP under the hood, but it's wrapped in a very marketer-friendly way. And it also runs within your own Google Cloud project. So it's really similar to everything that I've mentioned, but it just makes the process a lot easier. So for example, you wouldn't have to think about the model that you need, the different types of models you need to train, the code that you need to run and tweak. What this does is that it's really a plug and play solution, and it uses your BigQuery data as well as, well, it uses the GA4 data that you already have in BigQuery and just runs the models and provides you with the audiences you need um, to build, to understand who are most likely to convert or not. And the other cool thing about this is that everything happens with your own environment. So this is just a solution that sits on top. The propensity model in this case is pre-configured, and it's also seamlessly integrates with your GA4 and BigQuery setup. And it's automatic, so it also automates the process of refreshing the audiences depending on how often you need or the cadence that you need it for. And your team can start activating on these predictive audience as soon as possible. So if you are interested in joining our pilot program to test this new propensity modeling solution, please, you know, this is where you're able to do it. And if you want to learn more about it, you can go into partnerships@infotrust.com or just simply go into the ga4scorecard.com website. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Jared.
Yes, so you may have seen a poll launched, just asking whether y'all would like to receive more information about this automated propensity modeling pilot opportunity that is being offered by InfoTrust. More than happy to provide more information if there is any questions that y'all have. So feel free to go ahead and submit that poll. Also, as mentioned, you can go ahead and also reach out to partnerships@infotrust.com as well. With that, we will go ahead and dive into some additional resources that y'all have, available to y'all. So some upcoming webinars. We have another webinar actually next week. This is going to essentially be geared towards maximizing the benefit and value of your GA360 license. So if you are wondering, hey, I'm unsure if we're getting our full value out of GA360. What is it offering? How can we leverage it better? Go ahead and join Nadal and myself as we go ahead and explore that and really look at the business end value that you receive from GA360 as you might be exploring some of those, especially with recently relaunched updates. Also, go ahead and subscribe to our newsletter. That is going to be something that provides you a lot of details. So if you have any questions, go ahead, jump over to InfoTrust site and subscribe to that. If you are in the EU or you want an excuse to go ahead and go to London on maybe company dime, we do have a London event coming up. This is going to be basically a full day event for y'all on April 24th. It is AdTech Unlocked. So we will be diving into a bunch of different marketing strategies, details, privacy centric, and everything along those lines to better understand how you can use your first party data for marketing capabilities. So if you are wondering, hey, we're trying to put together a marketing strategy for this year and beyond, this is going to be a great event. It is hosted at Google's Central Street, Giles, London offices. So go ahead, register there. If you are an InfoTrust client, you can definitely go ahead and reach out to your team as well, because they might have a code for you, just a little push there. So go ahead and reach out if you're interested in getting a code to maybe knock some dollars off of that ticket price. And then lastly, Resources Hub. We have lots of resources available to y'all, so go ahead and check out the InfoTrust Resource Hub. You'll find this webinar on there probably in about a week or two. There are many other webinars, so if you're interested in the other webinars that happened before this one, go ahead and check that out. There's also a ton of articles that are getting published each and every day, some about AI, some about GA, some about privacy, just a wide variety of various articles. So if you want to stay up to date with the latest and greatest, go ahead and look at that. Um, with that, we have one last poll just about more about modeling and everything along those lines. So if you're interested in learning more about modeling, advanced modeling capabilities, maybe you're not interested in necessarily the InfoTrust automatic one, but you're interested in learning more about modeling, definitely go ahead and take a look at that. or go ahead and fill that out. So we just kind of want to understand if you're interested in follow-up conversation. There are a lot of other models that we obviously didn't have time to cover today that have a lot of benefits to be able to add to your organization and marketing strategies. And obviously, the ever-promised QA section. So if you have any questions, go ahead and continue to drop those in the Q&A. We do have three currently that I will go ahead and launch into. So the first one is, how do I know which dimensions and metrics I should include when building my training data set for a propensity model? Shaz?
Yes. Um, so to think about that, it's really important to think about what your use case is. Let's use propensity modeling as an example here. Let's say you're looking to find users who have a high propensity to make a purchase online. Once you have that clear, then think about what are the signals and behaviors that typically precede that outcome, right? So what is the customer journey, let's say within your website that happens before they actually make a purchase? What are the events you need to think through, and all those other dimensions and metrics? Some of the commonly used ones that we've noticed and we've utilized for propensity modeling ourselves are, let's say, product views, cart ads, time on site, as well as email opens, app logins. So you have like your behavioral signals online, then you can include some contextual signals as well, such as frequency of visit, device type, as well as, let's say, you can also calculate their recency and frequency depending on the data that you have. Include that all within your data set that goes into your model. One
Um,
thing I do, sorry, there's one more thing that I want to add, which is thinking about dimensions and metrics in terms of like which ones you need to consider is really important. The other consideration also is to make sure that they're consistently tracked. So there is no gap in the tracking because that will also impact the way that your model is reading those signals. So that's something to keep in mind.
The next question that we have is, what if I don't have a data science team? Can a marketer still use this? I'm assuming that that's BigQuery ML and Vertex AI. What are your suggestions there?
Yeah, absolutely. You can use this. I would suggest to start off with BigQuery ML because it uses SQL code. It's got pre-built in machine learning models already. And once you have access to this webinar, you can see all the different models and use cases that already exist within BigQuery. So yes, you don't, or more like you don't need a data science team, as long as you have a basic understanding of SQL code, you can use BigQuery ML and you can start experimenting with like basic AI. And you don't need to know Python or manage infrastructure with BigQuery ML as well.
Perfect. How long does it take to go from data to activation?
Okay, so it is really important first to think about having the right data and having it in the structure that you can activate upon it, or at least start utilizing it for modeling. So that's one aspect of it. But to run the models itself, especially in BigQuery ML, it just takes a few hours because the majority of the time is really spent on getting the data set right, making sure it has all the signals you need for your use case. Running in BigQuery ML just takes a few hours. But if you are considering like a full automation process with pipelines built in for your activation needs and utilizing Vertex AI to build that, then it would take a few weeks, and that really depends on the complexity. But one thing to add there is once you build it with Vertex AI, it's already there. And all you have to do is then start tweaking the model to make sure that, it's refreshed with new data and it can be optimized further. So once you have that in place, after a few weeks within Vertex AI, I think it's relatively simple then to optimize it.
So, sir. Well, Shaz, that is all the questions that we have today. We can jump to the very last slide. If for those of you all remaining, if you want to reach out to InfoTrust, first of all, we appreciate y'all joining. But if you want to reach out, maybe you're a future client, go ahead and reach out to infotrust.com /connect or sorry, contact, or go ahead and reach out to that partnership at infotrust.com. If you're a current client, go ahead and reach out to your team, request a workshop if you're interested in learning more about this. We appreciate everyone's time today. More importantly, Shaz, I appreciate you toughing it out and making sure that we got this webinar today. It was super informative, and I'm certain that there are many folks leaving today with some action, some answers to questions that marketing leaders might have in terms of how they're going to leverage AI in their organizations. With that, appreciate everyone joining. Hope that you all have a great rest of your day.